Hi folks, it's Andy. Hope you're having a great day and welcome to today's Kendo rant. Let's get stuck into it. Okay, first one says, hey Andy, what do you mean by Kendo? What is that? Okay, so we talked a little bit in the last video about Ishujii, which is like when you do like Kendo with other martial arts like Naginata or Kendo. So I didn't actually explain what I meant by Kendo. Kendo is it's like the way of the bayonet. So a bayonet being a knife basically that you put on the end of a rifle. So it's very much like a stabby martial art. It's like lots of tsukiwaza. I've not really got any experience of it whatsoever. It's like not very popular in Japan. I'm not like in a discreditive way. I mean, it's mainly practiced by the military as part of their training, and most of them don't go on to kind of continue to do it like as a kind of sort of extra activity or a pastime, whatever. Most people just do it as part of the training and then leave it at that. But obviously there are enough people for it to be big enough to have its own championships. It's got an All Japan Championships and stuff like that. But compared to other arts like Kendo or even Judo, it's not a very, very popular one. So I don't really know that much about it. So yeah, that's what Kendo is. Okay, next one. Thanks for the great rant series. I've learned so much by just watching it. The next step is to actually implement all of this. Good, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it. And thanks for KendoStar. Oh, the Vanguard Borger is really good protection. It looks nice. Yeah, great. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying your Vanguard Borger. It's a great Borger set, and there's a reason it's the world's favourite one. Okay, as for the question, it'd be great to hear about Shinai maintenance. How do you make them more durable? Right. Okay, so I've done a video on this actually before. It's quite an old one now, so it might be a little bit sort of out of date, but generally it's still pretty good. The best thing you can do with a Shinai when you first get it is take it apart, take all the leather bits off, and give it a coat of oil. Now, there's some special oils that you can get, but you don't need to use a really special oil or anything. You can just use the vegetable oil that you get from the supermarket. It's totally fine. You just kind of use a cloth or a bit of kitchen towel and just rub it all over the take. Let it totally dry, and then put the Shinai back together, and then you can go and use it. It's the best thing, the very, very best thing you can do, but for most of us it's not really practical, is open the Shinai all up, get it out of its bag and everything, oil it, and then I would say the best thing is like leave it a couple of weeks, 3 or 4 weeks even if you can, in the climate that you're living in, so that the take itself can kind of adjust to the moisture levels. If you live in a very dry climate, then you might want to oil it a few times before you sort of use it as well. But obviously it's not really practical, I know, to kind of buy a Shinai and then not use it for 3 weeks. You know, if you can't, then it's not a problem. Like I say, just give it an oil and then put it back together when it's dry and get back to using it. The other thing I would say though is we sell Shinai in packs of 3, and there's 2 reasons for that. One is because it makes shipping a lot more practical. And 2 is because it's always best to rotate the Shinai. Now, of course, when I say rotate, one thing is you can rotate the actual slats around, and you know, take it apart and rotate it. That's one thing. But what I really mean by rotate in this sense is, say we send you a pack of 3 Shinai, then you can use a different one each practice and kind of rotate between the 3, and that'll sort of draw the lifespan out of them as well. That's one thing you can do. Another thing really is just, you know, keep an eye on it whenever there's any sort of splinters or anything. Give it a little bit of a scrape or a sand. That'll help. And then the last thing you need to think about is making sure you're actually choosing the right Shinai for the right purpose. There's lots of different types of Shinai out there, of course. This is a door-body Shinai, or a Jisengata Shinai. Is a Chikara, it's called. These are on sale right now as part of our Shinai sale, so go and check them out. But basically, how a Jisengata or a door-body Shinai is made is this part is called the door, is made to be bigger, fatter, and it goes to a sort of thinner point. Now what this does, it keeps the balance close to your hands. It makes it feel very lightweight, and it's very good for quick striking. Jisen gata actually literally means like for the real match. So it's really good for that purpose. Now what you've got on the other side, this is our gotoku. This is also on sale as part of the same sale. So check it out. But this is a koto gata. So this is like a kind of similar thickness along the whole blade. It doesn't have that sort of fat section there. As you can see, there's quite a difference in the shape. So what you have is that the tip feels a little bit heavier, but the tip hasn't been shaved to a thin point. So it feels a little bit more solid. It's not really great for kind of quick movements, but it's good for training. It's really good for like doing kirikaeshi, uchikomi. That's the kind of shinai I would use for that. You know, where you're doing lots of repetitive strikes. Or if you want to work on, in your jigeiko, if you want to work on like one-shot style kendo as opposed to renzoku waza, it's quite good for that as well. But yeah, whereas the chikara, for example, like I say, it's a little bit thinner up here, so obviously it's less fragile. It's a little bit more fragile, that's just a fact of how dobari or jisen gata shinai are. So this kind of shinai, what I would be doing is I'd use it more for jigeiko or lighter practices, and for shiai, of course, or my grading or something like that, where it's not going to just be subject to a load of repetitive strikes. Okay, so you have to think about that as well, whether you're sort of selecting the right shinai. We've got the all-purpose shinai as well, the KendoStar all-purpose shinai up there. That's a super popular model. You can use that for sort of all-purpose use as well if you don't want to be swapping shinai between. It's kind of balanced between the two. And then we've got the red arrow shinai as well, which is it's like a kind of a practice shinai that's made of a tougher bamboo. It's a little bit more elastic, so it doesn't have a great balance, but it's really good for sort of, you know, extended training, if you're going to be sort of doing a lot of repetitive strikes. So yeah, so shinai selection is another thing. Okay, let's jump over to the early access group, the Kendo Show early access group. If you're not in that group, get in it, because it's free to join, and it's definitely worth being in there. There's a link down below. This one's staying on the subject of shinai. It says, hi Andy, I'd like to know what are the advantages and disadvantages between regular bamboo, smoked bamboo and carbon graphite shinai. Okay, no problem. Well, so regular bamboo is just the standard bamboo. There's actually two types of, let's say, regular bamboo. There's more than two types actually, but there's mainly two types, let's say, okay? There's keichiku and there's madake. They've got sort of different properties of their own. Smoked bamboo is when they take the bamboo and then they actually smoke it, and the idea of that is it turns it very dark brown, and the idea is that it sort of infuses it with carbon, which is supposed to increase durability, but that is really dependent on people's experience. There's no sort of hard evidence on that. Some people find that it does, some people find that there's no real difference. And then carbon graphite shinai it's basically a shinai that's it's made of 4 rods of carbon graphite that are then coated in a kind of toughened plastic that's sort of coloured to look like a shinai. Now, they're extremely durable compared to bamboo shinai. They're not unbreakable, but they are very, very durable. They don't require oiling or anything because essentially they're made of plastic on the outside. They're actually originally invented for use in schools in Japan for their, like, you know, when they do kendo as PE. So for people that don't actually practice kendo, they've just got to do it as part of their education. That's what they were invented for, so that schools could just keep them without having to worry about sort of looking after them or them breaking and stuff like that. But then they became more popular sort of with adults overseas, outside of Japan particularly, especially in drier climates where it's harder to keep sort of shinai moist enough not to break so often. So obviously they were popular there. Most experienced kendo practitioners, and when I say experienced, I mean like even sort of lower downgrade or higher Q grades even, tend not to like the feel of them. They're extremely elastic. or bendy, shall we say? So they feel real different. They feel really different. I have a preference personally with the Shinai that I choose. I like to choose Shinai that are quite flexible anyway, because I like to have a sort of elastic feedback from my strikes. But a carbon Shinai is it's too much from my point of view. They just bend a little bit too much to feel right, as it were. They make a bit of a different noise, and they generally don't have a great balance either. But if you want something that's going to be for hard training that you're never going to have to worry about looking after, or oiling and stuff like that, then they could be a good choice. Okay, that's the main difference. Most experienced kendoka don't use them. Okay, next one. This is a this is a great topic. It's another one I'm not sure I really want to get into, but I don't want to be causing these flame wars. But I managed to get off quite lightly with the comments I made about Ishujiai, so maybe I shouldn't tempt fate, but let's go. It says, I think it's safe to say that the number of Nito players out there pale in comparison to the Ito players. Yes, that's very fair to say. It's extremely accurate to say that. Some people take up Nito without a proper instructor and may not have a good concept of the general rules that govern Nito. I think that's probably the case for a majority of people doing Nito around the world, especially in Japan. Not everybody, of course. Some Ito players may rarely face a Nito player in competition or in Jigeko. Some Shimpan may have a Nito player in the Shiaijo and not be entirely sure how to adjudicate such a player. Arguably, one of the best questions related to Nito that I suspect many people have is, can a Nito player score Ippon or Ichibu Kotatotsu with the Shoto? I asked that of this is quite a long question, so let me get to the end and then I'll start answering properly. I asked that of an 8th Dan once, and what I got was what I felt was probably the best ever response. He said, it's possible to score with the Shoto if it is very clear, but with the Shoto, it is never very clear. I've always fallen back on that as a general principle. Do you have any personal thoughts to share on this topic, or even real rules that some of us may not be aware of? I know some Shimpan don't like the idea of katate do with Nito, for example, but I don't mean to get down in the weeds that much. I'm looking for more general thoughts about the Daito versus the Shoto. I really love these rant videos. Thank you very much. Okay, so there's obviously a massive stream of comments after that question that you posted, because not everyone, but lots of people have got an opinion on this. Let me address it piece by piece. Okay, so yeah, it's absolutely safe to say that there's more Ito players than there are Nito players. There's hardly any Nito players compared to Ito players if you take in the entire population of Kendo people in the world, because there's literally like... I'm not going to put a number on it, but it's like a handful of people in Japan doing it, because everybody does Ito in Japan, almost. There's like a small number of people that do Nito. Some people take up Nito without a proper instructor and may not have a good concept of the general rules that govern Nito. Yeah, so that's obviously true, because most... it depends what you consider a proper instructor. I think most good Ito style instructors could also perfectly adequately provide instruction about Nito as well, because the concept is actually the same if you're doing Nito properly. So the thing is you're not allowed to do Nito in Japan until you're a university student. So they're not allowed to do it in high school and below, which is where the majority of people do Kendo in Japan. And the only universities that I've seen that have students that do Nito tend to be ones that don't have regular instructors. Tend to be. But, obviously there's exceptions. So, I think there probably is only a few people that are very experienced at instructing or teaching Nito. So obviously that could be an issue. Shimpan, on the other hand, I don't know. I don't think it's much of a... doing Shimpan for Nito isn't that different to doing it for Jordan. It's just like you say, and you're very right to point out, you've got the problem or the question of the Shoto to think about. So I guess let's move to the real question, which is, can the Nito player score Ippon with the Shoto? Right. So the rules say, well, the rules don't. I'm hesitant to quote the exact rules because I don't want to get it wrong. But my understanding is that the rules allow for Yuko Datotsu to be awarded for a strike made with the Shoto. After that, it's the decision of the Shimpan. If I was a Shimpan of a person doing the Nito, I'd have to see something pretty fantastic or amazing, or I'd have to see the Ito player trying to manipulate the match in a way that the use of the Daito was kind of being unfairly compromised to award the point with the Shoto. Now, what I mean by that is I can't currently imagine a situation where a point would be scored that I can't imagine a point that I think I would score for the Shoto. I can't imagine one. But that isn't to say one doesn't exist that I haven't seen yet. There is something about like you have to be controlling the opponent's sword with your Daito to be able to hit with the Shoto, which kind of sort of leads to, like, for example, if the rules were to be that you could only score points with the Daito, then I guess effectively the person doing Ito could kind of try and some way tie up the Daito, like kind of hook it or stuff like that, to try and prevent it being used, because they've obviously only got one hand to control it. So there is potential, I think, therefore, like if the rule were to be that you could only score with the Daito, there could be some sort of potential for manipulation there by the Ito player, which is why it should be valid under certain circumstances. So I guess if I saw something like that, again, I can't necessarily imagine it off the top of my head, but it doesn't mean it wouldn't happen or couldn't happen. The reason it should be much more strict, though, and the reason I can't imagine a point that I would award with the Shoto is because I mean, that isn't what the Shoto is supposed to be for, in the idea of Nito Ryu in Kendo, all right? Because not forgetting you've got two swords as opposed to the other person who's only got one, and if you were able to equally score with both of them, then it would be a clear unfair advantage. So it would be quickly to the detriment of Nito if we were to allow scoring of points with the Shoto more freely, because I think it will quite quickly become either well, I think it will probably be removed. I think they would probably say no more Nito because it's too easy. So instead of saying that, they're saying, well, no, you can't really score with the Shoto, except sometimes. But I've never seen it. I've never seen it happen. I'm sure it has somewhere. Interesting you mentioned that some Shimpan don't like the idea of katate do with Nito. Yeah, but I think that's wrong to be like that. I've seen some pretty awesome katate do from Nito, with the Daito, of course. I've seen some awesome waza from Nito with all sorts of different waza. Kote, men, of course, do, and even ski. So it's not like you know, it's not like they should be biased because of that. But then like I say, once you start adding in the Shoto and start saying, oh yeah, you can make points just as easily with the Shoto, then yeah, then it becomes a little bit unfair. Okay. So last one, it says, does anyone know, this has just come in a few minutes ago, it says, does anyone know where one can watch the World Kendo Championships? I've been looking for streams, but can't been able to find one. Well, it looks like someone already posted a link, but I think on the actual WKC website, they're going to be streaming it, and I'm sure that the All Japan Kendo Federation channel will probably do it as well. But don't know, might not, don't quote me on that. Okay, so before we go, last thing I want to do is, it's a bit of a plug, but I've got to do it. If you haven't seen the new Shinobu Borg set on KendoStar, go and check it out. This one's mine. It's awesome, awesome set. See, it says Andy on my cover. It's a brilliant KendoStar set. It's just come out. It's a special type of stitching. It's a lot like the Vanguard Prime, except instead of having that massive stitch for that massive cushioning, they're a lot smaller this time. So you still got those little cushions. They're not quite as thick as on the Vanguard Prime, but they've got a little bit more stiffness. See how well it holds its shape like that. So it's more of a kind of all-purpose, all-round set. It's nice and lightweight, super durable, but it's also protective. It looks awesome as well. Get the tare as well, you can see. Just hold it up. You can see how the stitching is just a little bit different. How you've got sort of 3 closer lines, and then you've got like a wider gap that creates these sort of little cushions on the back. So you've got nice protection, but it looks it looks good, but it kind of it's got that durability and that rigidity as well. So if you don't want something that's just a massive sort of ultra protective set like the Vanguard Prime, this is a great set if you want something that's sort of a bit more all round and looks a little bit more sort of mainstream. It doesn't look super mainstream because it has got that sort of hybrid stitching, but I know that some people are put off by the Vanguard Prime because it's got those big gaps between the stitching. I actually absolutely love, but obviously it does look a little bit unusual, so I know that some people aren't super keen on that. So that's why we've sort of brought it down a bit, brought it a little bit more mainstream, but still it's got the benefits of a KendoStar Borger that you'd expect. Okay, so go and check it out. We've got it on sale as well because we just launched it. It's called Shinobu. If you get over to the KendoStar website, check out the current offers bit. You'll see what we've got on sale. We've got loads of good deals on all the time. So make sure you're shopping there because that's what supports us. Okay, now I've done that. Don't forget, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think you'd like me to talk about next time. And what have you. Don't forget to share and like and all the social media stuff. And other than that, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.